The signal from the star's commander, Elena Reyes, stood in the observation deck of the newly christened ESS Thunderchild, watching as Earth grew smaller in the viewport. After 20 years in the military, she had thought nothing could surprise her anymore. Then came the signal. Still hard to believe, isn't it? Dr. Marcus Chen joined her at the viewport, his tablet clutched in his hand like always. As the fleet's chief xenobiologist, he had been working non-stop since the day the signal was received that we're heading into deep space to save an alien civilization. Elena smiled wryly. No, what's hard to believe is that we actually agreed to do it. For the first time in human history, the nations of Earth had united with singular purpose. The memory of that day 3 years ago remained vivid in Elena's mind. It had been a regular Tuesday at SETI's primary listening post in New Mexico when the patterns emerged. At first, the technicians thought it was an equipment malfunction. The signal was too perfect, too structured. Mathematical sequences, binary data streams, and embedded visuals all pointed to one undeniable conclusion. Intelligent alien life was reaching out. Dr. Amara Okafor, the brilliant linguist who first cracked the code, had burst into the emergency UN session, her hands shaking as she presented the findings. They call themselves the Nyari, she had announced to the assembled world leaders. They're being systematically hunted by a predatory species they call the Vec, and they've reached out to us specifically because of what we are. The room had gone quiet. And what exactly are we? The Secretary General had asked. Deathworlders, Amara replied. Their scans show Earth has approximately twice their gravity, significantly higher oxygen content, more extreme weather patterns, and far more aggressive evolutionary pressures. We've evolved on what they classify as a Class 12 death world. Their homeworld is a Class 3. The images the Nyari shared showed a beautiful species, bioluminescent delicate beings with 4 arms and large expressive eyes. Their world was a paradise of gentle weather and abundant resources. They had evolved without the constant threat of predators or harsh conditions. The Vec, by contrast, came from a Class 9 world, not as harsh as Earth, but significantly more challenging than the Nyari homeworld. They had developed interstellar travel a century before and had been systematically conquering and enslaving less aggressive species. The Nyari have technology we can only dream of, Dr. Okafor continued, but they lack the biological imperative to fight. They've included schematics for faster-than-light travel, weapons systems, and shield technology. They're essentially giving us the keys to the stars in exchange for our help. That had been the beginning. For 3 years, humanity worked with singular focus, building a fleet using Nyari schematics but modified with human innovation. The aliens had designed elegant, efficient ships. Humanity redesigned them to be stronger, more redundant, and significantly more heavily armed. The structural reinforcements are complete on all 15 vessels, Marcus said, pulling Elena from her memories. The engineers are calling it human-grade overbuilding. Elena laughed. The Nyari build things to exact specifications. We build things to withstand the apocalypse. The Nyari engineers who had communicated with them through faster-than-light transmissions seemed perpetually confused by humanity's insistence on redundant systems, multiple backups, and significantly reinforced hulls. For a species that evolved in harmony with their environment, the human need to prepare for worst-case scenarios was alien. Across the hangar bay, Elena could see the fleet preparing for the jump to FTL. 15 vessels, each crewed by an international team of Earth's finest. Scientists, soldiers, and civilians, all volunteers, all aware they might never return home. Commander Reyes to the bridge, the ship's AI announced. Final jump preparations are underway. Elena took one last look at the distant blue marble. Let's go make first contact, Doctor. On the bridge, Fleet Admiral Takahashi was reviewing the EU final departure checklist. A grizzled veteran of naval conflicts, he had been the unanimous choice to lead humanity's first interstellar mission. All ships report ready, Admiral, Communications Officer Lee announced. The Nyari coordinates are locked into the navigation system. Very well. Takahashi turned to Elena. Commander Reyes, as our Chief Tactical Officer, I'd like your final assessment. Elena straightened. The fleet is as prepared as it can be, sir. The Nyari schematics have given us an edge, but we're still heading into unknown territory against a technologically superior enemy. Our advantage lies in our unpredictability and our evolutionary history. The Vec have never encountered Deathworlders before. Takahashi nodded. And that, Commander, is precisely why we will win. He turned to the view screen showing the assembled fleet. All ships prepare for FTL jump. Operation Lighthouse commences now. The sensation of faster-than-light travel was impossible to describe. The engineers had warned the crew about potential side effects: nausea, disorientation, even hallucinations. But nothing could have prepared Elena for the moment when space itself seemed to fold around the Thunderchild, compressing 15 light-years into a journey of mere hours. When they emerged, the view screen showed a distant star system, the Nyari, homeworld, and surrounding it the unmistakable signs of war: debris fields, energy signatures indicating recent weapons discharge, and dozens of unknown vessels. Multiple contacts, Tactical Officer Rodriguez reported, his voice tense. Configuration matches Nyari data on Vec warships. They've spotted us, Admiral. Defensive positions, Takahashi ordered calmly. All ships prepare for combat. Elena moved to the tactical station, studying the approaching Vec fleet. They were insectoid in design, predatory and aggressive. Sir, Communications Officer Lee called out, "We're receiving a transmission. It's from the Nyari." The view screen shifted to show one of the bioluminescent aliens. Its light was dim, its forearms moving in agitated patterns. "Earth vessels," the translation came through. "You came. We did not believe you would truly come." Takahashi stepped forward. "This is Fleet Admiral Takahashi of Earth. We received your distress call and have come to render assistance." The Nyari's bioluminescence brightened slightly. "The Vec have destroyed 2 of our colony worlds already. Our homeworld is under siege. We have less than 1 planetary rotation before their main fleet arrives." "Understand this," Takahashi replied, his voice steady. "Humanity has never lost a war we were determined to win. We will need all the information you have on Vec tactics and vulnerabilities." As the Nyari began transmitting data, Elena watched the approaching Vec scout ships. They moved with precision and coordination, clearly experienced in warfare. But they had never faced humans before. They had never encountered beings who had evolved on a world where every day was a fight for survival, where the weather could kill you as easily as the predators, where the very air could become hostile. The Vec had never met Deathworlders, and they weren't ready. Humanity unleashed. The Vec outnumbered the human fleet 4-1. Their ships were faster, their weapons theoretically more advanced. By any logical assessment, Earth's fleet should have retreated, regrouped, and developed a long-term strategy. Instead, Admiral Takahashi ordered an immediate attack. "Sir, with respect," Elena began, studying the tactical display. "They expect us to run," Takahashi interrupted. "Every species the Vec have encountered has initially retreated when faced with superior numbers. It's in their tactical doctrine." He pointed to the data the Nyari had transferred. "They've never adapted to an enemy that charges straight at them." Elena saw the wisdom immediately. Psychological warfare. Precisely. Takahashi turned to the communications station. "All ships, battle formation Delta. We're going straight through their line." The human fleet accelerated toward the Vec armada. On the view screen, Elena could see the enemy ships adjusting their formation, clearly confused by the humans' approach. "They're trying to encircle us," Tactical Officer Rodriguez reported. "Let them try," Takahashi replied calmly. "Execute Maneuver Thermopylae." The human fleet suddenly split into 3 groups, each targeting a different section of the Vec formation. It was chaos. Beautiful, calculated chaos. The Vec ships, designed for precision and coordination, couldn't adapt quickly enough to the seemingly random movements of the human vessels. "First blood," Rodriguez announced as the ESS Prometheus reported a confirmed kill. Their shields weren't configured for our kinetic weapons. That had been another human innovation. While the Nayari had provided energy weapon schematics, Earth's engineers had insisted on including traditional projectile weapons, railguns that fired tungsten rods at a significant fraction of light speed. The Vec, accustomed to energy shields designed to repel plasma and laser attacks, had no defense against solid projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. All ships, concentrate fire on their flagship, Takahashi ordered. Commander Reyes, prepare boarding teams. Elena blinked in surprise. Boarding teams, sir? The Nyari data indicates the Vec have never experienced ship-to-ship boarding actions. Their internal security is minimal. Takahashi's expression was grim. They've never encountered an enemy willing to engage in close-quarters combat. Within minutes, Elena was leading a team of 20 Marines toward the Thunderchild's dropships. Each soldier was encased in powered armor, another technology the Nyari had found horrifying. Why, they had asked, would any species voluntarily enter combat zones? Why not use remote drones? The answer was simple. Because humans had evolved to fight. Because sometimes victory required looking your enemy in the eye. The dropship detached from the Thunderchild with a metallic clunk. Through the viewport, Elena could see 5 other boarding craft heading toward the massive Vec flagship. Its organic-looking hull was already scarred from multiple railgun impacts. Remember, she told her team over the comm, the Vec evolved as pack hunters. They're not used to individual combat. Separate them, isolate them, and they'll lose cohesion. The dropship shuddered as it attached to the Vec vessel's hull. Cutting lasers made short work of the external plating, and then Elena's team was inside. The interior was alien. Chitinous corridors that seemed grown rather than constructed. Atmospheric conditions slightly different from Earth normal. But thanks to their powered armor, the human boarding teams moved through the environment with ease. The first Vec they encountered were clearly unprepared. Tall insectoid creatures with multiple limbs and compound eyes, they scattered in confusion at the sight of armored humans charging toward them. They're retreating to the bridge, Elena reported as her team pushed forward. Just as predicted, they're trying to maintain group cohesion. The battle for the flagship lasted less than 20 minutes. The Vec, deadly in coordinated groups, broke apart when isolated. Their natural instincts betrayed them, their evolutionary psychology becoming a weakness when faced with humans who had evolved as both pack hunters and lone predators. When Elena's team reached the bridge, the Vec commander, distinguishable by its elaborate carapace markings, immediately tried to communicate. Surrender, it clicked through its translator. You cannot defeat the collective. Elena removed her helmet, allowing the alien to see her face, a psychological tactic intended to emphasize the difference between humans and the previously encountered species. Your fleet is in disarray, she replied. Your ship is under our control. You have one option. Stand down all forces immediately and withdraw from Nyari space. The alien's compound eyes fixed on her exposed face, clearly struggling to comprehend, a species willing to reveal its vulnerable features in a combat zone. You are not like the others. It clicked eventually. No, Elena agreed. We're Deathworlders. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day. We've survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, and our own self-destructive tendencies. The Nyari reached out to us because they knew what we are. The Vec commander seemed to consider this. You should have been conquered long ago before achieving space travel. You're welcome to try. Elena replied with a cold smile. But I recommend against it. The battle across the system ended within hours. 7 human ships had sustained damage, but only 1 had been lost. In exchange, 23 Vec vessels had been destroyed or captured. When they returned to the Nyari colony world, the reception was unlike anything humans had experienced before. The delicate aliens crowded around the landing zones, their bioluminescence creating waves of light that rippled through the assembled crowd. The Nyari leader who greeted Admiral Takahashi was visibly overwhelmed. You have done what we thought impossible, it communicated through its translator. The Vec have never been defeated in open combat. They've never faced humans before, Takahashi replied simply. In the days that followed, Elena found herself working closely with the Nyari defense forces, teaching them concepts that came naturally to humans but were alien to the peaceful species. Concepts like strategic deception, asymmetric warfare, and psychological tactics. "Your species is frightening," her Niari counterpart, a scientist named Elith, admitted one evening as they reviewed battle footage. "The way you throw yourselves into danger, the way you've designed your ships and weapons to absorb punishment rather than avoid it." Elena considered this. "We evolved on a world that shaped us to survive. Our gravity is crushing by your standards. Our weather systems can level entire cities. Our planet has experienced 5 mass extinction events, and still, life persisted." She smiled. "We're terrifying because we had to be." Elith's bioluminescence pulsed thoughtfully. "And yet you came to help us, strangers across the void." "That's the other thing about humans," Elena replied. "We fight harder when we're fighting for others than when we're fighting for ourselves." The Vec retreated from Niari space within a month, but the human fleet didn't return to Earth immediately. Instead, they helped the Niari rebuild, establish defensive systems, and prepare for potential future conflicts. More importantly, humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy in unmistakable terms. The species from the Death World had arrived, and the cosmic order would never be the same. When Admiral Takahashi finally gave the order to return home, he gathered the fleet commanders for one final briefing. "We came here to save the Nyari," he told them. "But we've done something far more significant. We've shown the galaxy that humanity will not stand idle while others suffer. We've demonstrated that the very traits that make us Deathworlders, our tenacity, our adaptability, our willingness to fight, can be forces for protection as well as destruction." Elena looked around at her fellow officers, seeing in their eyes the same realization. Earth was no longer alone. The signal from the stars had changed everything. As the fleet prepared for the jump back to Earth, carrying with them Nyari ambassadors and technologies beyond what had been initially shared, Elena returned to the observation deck where her journey had begun. The stars looked different now. Not distant, unreachable points of light, but destinations, possibilities, and perhaps new allies and enemies. Humanity had answered the call from the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same again.